If it's news to you that I'm a dick, then you definitely don't know me very well. Sorry, it's just the truth. You know, you have to be in life sometimes. Come on, man. I run a radio station with rock and roll musicians and artists and egos and everything else. So you can't be a lollipop and a marshmallow. You got to be kind of a dick about this stuff. Sorry. Too much TMI, too much insight. I slept like shit. I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, so I'm just wired. You know, it's 11:02. Welcome to Randsanity, episode 237, January the 24th. This will go down in infamy as the snow of 26. Boom, boom, boom. People will be talking about this for years. Well, yeah, it's true. No, dogs are definitely better than humans. There's no question about that one. You know, dogs love you unconditionally. So, yeah, you got that going right there. You know. You walk in the store, hey, how are you? What's your dog's name? I don't care about you. And that's my username on the broadcast. All right, email address 8607. It's email address 8607. Did something go wrong? That's kind of funny. All right. All right. I mean, that's a pretty unique name. Fair enough. All right. Anyway, welcome to episode 237 of Randsanity, where I talk about music, news, history, artists, entertainment, stuff that happened today on this day throughout history, and in general stuff. So I've got a little bit of stuff tonight to talk about. I've got 5 songs that you should definitely check out and listen to. Different genres, different stuff. Just, a suggestion. I said last night you should listen to Lord Huron, Bag of Bones. I was just listening to that again because Lord Huron's going to be coming through. You can listen to it on TikTok. There's a 1-minute version of it on TikTok. So I might do a epic video for that one. We'll see. But there's also, the first thing I'm going to talk about is these 4 artists that blew up that really weren't excited about it. They really weren't craving it. It's some of us do. Fame, it can be a very funny thing. I have a couple of friends who are just absolutely don't want to be in the limelight. You DJs, it's funny. You always say DJs, oh, you're a great DJ. You have a face for radio. Well, what that means is that they aren't really good out in public. We hired specifically, we looked for promotional jocks, not disc jockeys, promotional jocks. So I wanted people that were waiters or bartenders or, had been done stuff in public because that they made the best DJs because they could go out and go do stuff. I mean, that's what you needed them to do. To go make money, you had to go do things. So fame can be a very funny thing. Some artists find it to be the best thing that ever happened to them. Others feel it's like this hopeless, debilitating experience. For every Taylor Swift and for every Noel Gallagher, who openly love fame. I mean, they've said it. They love fame. There are at least 2 more artists that don't share that, So here's a couple. Neil Peart. Neil Peart from Rush is easily the biggest prog rock band of all time. But the late drummer Neil Peart was not comfortable with the level of visibility that he achieved upon success. In fact, Far Out magazine noted that Peart was one of the more introverted rock stars to ever live. We know this because he said it himself in one of Rush's most beloved songs, Limelight. The drummer once spoke about the song's meaning, saying it was an attempt to clarify for myself and hopefully others a thing that I learned. Never complain, never explain. I try not to complain, but I can't help but to explain. He shared speaking to CBC as noted by Far Out. This was an attempt on my part to explain myself as an introvert, Peart continued. Feeling totally alienated by the gilded cage of it all, it's been remarkable over time how many young musicians have come up to me and told me what that song means to them and when they face the same transition in their life. Pert has long been considered one of the greatest rock drummers ever, but this praise was something else he wasn't very comfortable with. Sadly, Neil passed away in 2020, though. Another artist, Mitski. Singer-songwriter Mitski has been making acclaimed alt-pop indie rock music for more than a decade. In an interview with Vulture, Mitski was very candid about her aversion to exploitive nature and of fame and celebrity. You can't be a human being, she said. You had to be a product. And there's being bought and sold and consumed. And you have to perceive yourself in that way in order to function. Offering some insight into how it has impacted her, Mitski added, I'm a foreigner to myself now. Another one, Fiona Apple. Growing up in the 90s, Fiona Apple was an intrigued musical figure. She was very no-nonsense, as evident by her 1997 MTV and VMA acceptance speech for Best New Artist in a video for Sleep to Dream. So what I want to say is, everybody out there that's watching, everybody that's watching in this world is bullshit, she said. And you should model your life. Wait a second. You shouldn't model your life about what you think we should be and think is cool and what we're wearing and what we're saying and what everything else. Go with yourself. Go with yourself. I remember watching this live and feeling both the danger and the freedom in what she was advocating. Soon it became clear that this is a woman who wasn't really interested in selling out for the music industry. Writer Emily Nussbaum offered some more current perspective in the 2020 profile of the Apple for The New Yorker. Fame has long been a jarring experience, Fiona Apple, who has dealt with it since childhood with obsessive-compulsive disorder, depression, and anxiety, Nussbaum wrote. Apple knows the cliche about early life that it freezes you at the age you achieved it. Nussbaum later added she never had to toil in anonymity and had learned her craft and made her mistakes in public. Interesting one. Lastly, Kurt Cobain. For those certain Nirvana fans who disagree with the notion that Kurt Cobain didn't want fame, even if you think this way, there's plenty of evidence that he was not engaging with fame the same way a lot of his contemporaries were and still do. Cobain was mostly very reserved and awkward in interviews. He preferred to use the art of his, music for his performance as a purpose to speak his mind and express himself. In the 2022 book, Kurt Cobain, The Last Interview, author Dana Spuddy offered some perspective on Cobain's wariness about fame, noting that it was much more about not having control over the trajectory. He denied he had an ambition, but then admitted, Spuddy wrote for Pitchfork, he wanted to make records and have an audience. He just wanted to do it in his terms, like his punk heroes. So interesting. So there's 4 artists who really aren't wanting to be famous. Kurt Cobain, Mitski, Fiona Apple, and Neil Peart. So yes, sometimes fame isn't everything it's cracked up to be. Remember, the one thing about it, there's always a downside. What goes up must come down. What's it say here? Yeah, it is a gift and a curse for sure. I've met musicians who come alive on stage, but as soon as they get off stage, they're introverted. It's true. I've met many musicians that are exactly that way. They can turn it on and turn it off. It's like a switch. I've met some actors that do that as well, where they're just completely not what you see on the screen. They're quiet, they're reserved, or they're the exact opposite. What you think on you see them on screen where they're quiet, reserved. It's not the way they are in real life. They're very introverted in sort of a public setting, but in the private setting, they're not. So yeah, it can be a very interesting thing. I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. I always told my mother, I said, I'm like a bottle of wine that the cork was cracked and the air gets in and it just makes me spoiled. So I'm pretty much exactly as I am. So whether you like that or not, that's the way it is. I don't have a lot of filter. So we all wear some filters. I don't have a lot of filter. Never have. Sorry. Need the cough button. Yeah, exactly. The cough button. All right. Talk a little history today. What happened on the 24th of January throughout the ages. In 1953, Eddie Fisher was number one on the UK singles chart with Outside Is Heaven. The American singer divorced his first wife, Debbie Reynolds, to marry his best friend's widow, Elizabeth Taylor, which gave him too much unwelcome publicity at the time. Eddie is the father of actress Carrie Fisher, who died in 2016. So that's why he's famous, because of that. In 1958, Elvis Presley was number one on the UK singles chart with Jailhouse Rock. It became the first ever single to enter the chart at number one and was Presley's second number one in the UK. It went on to sell over 4 million copies in the US alone. Well, oh, thank God it was closed. Oh, that would have sucked. 1958, the Quarrymen performed at the Cavern Club in Liverpool. This was the band's only performance at the club. It was 3 years later when they appeared again at the Cavern Club under their new name as the Beatles. You might need to go to Turkey, off-brand Jerry O'Connell. Fair enough. Fair enough. Off-brand Jerry O'Connell. Off-brand. I like that. All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Let's skip over that one. So we talked about that one. In 1969, The Doors appeared at Madison Square Garden in New York City. They were paid over $50,000 for the gig, making one of the highest paid acts this year. Not bad in 1969 to get paid $50K to play Madison Square Garden for The Doors. Of course, it's New Jersey. Other than that, it was Cincinnati, Ohio. In 1969, New Jersey state prosecutors issued a warning to U.S. record dealers that they would be charged with distributing pornography if they were caught selling the John Lennon-Yoko Ono LP, Two Virgins. The front cover of the album showed the pair frontally nude, while the back cover showed them from behind. The album still managed to reach number 124 on the U.S., but failed to chart at all in the U.K., where only 5,000 copies were ever pressed. Speaking of pressed, little pressed ham on that back picture there. Wah. I think Pete Bell was a better drummer than Ringo. Oh, but Ringo! But do you remember I read the story about Ringo Starr asked that people don't send him fan mail anymore? I was like, really? You publicly said people should not send him, don't send me stuff to autograph, don't send me fan mail. I was like, wow. It's kind of a dick move, Ringo. I mean, I guess. I just won't be sending my fan mail to Ringo Starr anymore. Makes me so sad. No, it doesn't really. It doesn't make me sad. I don't really care. Ringo, you dick. 1970, Led Zeppelin appeared at Leeds University in Leeds, England. It was at this show when Zeppelin had a meeting with the fine arts lecturer Zakron to discuss their ideas for the album sleeve of the band's next album, Led Zeppelin III. Zakron, born Richard Drew, had studied at Kingston College of Art with members of the Yardbirds. DM, what's up? Nothing, just, enjoying the snowpocalypse. I was saying that the picture I posted is a time lapse that I started taking that I'll be reviewing in many hours from now to see what it looks like. And I'm just going to try and keep it, see if I can keep the time lapse going until, I don't know, tomorrow night at 10 o'clock and see what it looks like after, if 30 seconds, I'm at 30 seconds into it, that's too long or too short. It's probably too right. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Let's see. We're going to skip about James Shepard being murdered. Okay. 1976, Bob Dylan started a 5-week run number one on January the 24th on the U.S. chart with his 17th studio album, Desire. The album featured Hurricane, which protests the conviction of former middle boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter for triple murder in 1966, arguing his innocence. It's a good song. Oh, man. totally didn't pay attention again. That's just my bad. That's just bad form when I do that. That's just basically pilot error. When I'm not paying attention to the camera, I can see it counting down, and then I let it click off. That's just bad form on my part. My apologies. Totally bad form. In 1977, the Buzzcocks appeared at the Roxy in London, England, supported by Chelsea. Also appeared in the venue of the week were The Damned, love The Damned. The Boys, don't know who they are. The Adverts, not really sure. And Slaughter the Dogs, no. And Squeeze. All right, Squeeze is great. But I don't know who Slaughter the Dogs are. Oh, Slaughter and the Dogs. There's an and in there. Sorry, that was hidden on the other line. Just Slaughter and the Dogs, just Slaughter the Dogs. Either way, it sounds like they probably weren't great. I'm just saying. In 1980, a billboard was erected on Sunset. I'm like 12. I can't say the word erected without laughing. Sorry. Try this again. In 1980, a billboard was erected on Sunset Strip, West Hollywood, California, to promote Pink Floyd's new album, The Wall. A blank wall was pasted up each day. A brick was removed to slowly reveal the inside spread and title of the album. There, I got through it without laughing at the word erected. 1981, Adam and the Ants started a 10-week run at #1 on the UK chart with their debut album, King of the Wild Frontier. That is such a good album. I've told the story of Adam Ant. I met Adam Ant when he was younger. And, he was great. And I saw the show and enjoyed it and saw it another time and thought it was great. And then I saw him like 10 years later and, man, he'd put on so much weight. And he's always struggled with mental health issues. And it was just kind of it was just not a great show. And I just felt really bad. I was like, oh, just uncomfortable, because I was like, wow, all right, well, yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, Adam Ant, Kings of the Wild Frontier, great album. In 1992, Nirvana played their first ever show in Australia at the Phoenician Club in Sydney. Also on the bill was Tumbleweed and the Meanies. Now, I don't know if that's one band, Tumbleweed and the Meanies, or Tumbleweed and the Meanies. I'm guessing it's Tumbleweed. That sounds like a very Australian thing. An Australian band named the Tumbleweeds. Oi, crikey, put a tumbleweed on fire. That was a terrible accent. What can I tell you? David Cole died of spinal meningitis. He was a member of CC Music Factory, who had the single that said Things That Make You Go, and the single Gonna Make You Sweat. Also produced hits for other artists, including Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and Aretha Franklin. I keep wanting to say Aretha Franklin. I told you, I'm just punchy tonight, man. I'm just punchy. You gotta, give me a little break here tonight. In 1998, Oasis went on to #1 on the UK single chart with All Around the World. It was the longest running time for a UK #1 with a total duration of 9 minutes and 38 seconds. It was one of the first songs to be written by Noel Gallagher, with the band rehearsing it as early as 1992, 6 years prior to its release. That's how long it took Noel to get his shit straight. 1999, The Offspring went on to #1 on the UK singles chart with Pretty Fly for a White Guy. Taken from their 5th album, Americana, the single was a #1 hit in 10 other countries. I listened to that song earlier and I was just like, I forgot how ridiculous that song is. It is a ridiculous song, just so you know. Now, see, this is why I don't listen to country artists. Country singer Lynn Anderson was arrested for shoplifting after being caught stealing a Harry Potter DVD from a New Mexico supermarket and punching a police officer during her arrest. The 57-year-old had the 1970 top 5 hit Rose Garden. I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden. The only garden she's going to be dealing with is the prison garden. Or prison guard. Seriously, punching a cop? That's not a great idea. David Shaman, American record producer and composer David Shaman, also known as Disco D. Sounds like the guy from The Simpsons, Disco Stew. Disco D was found dead after he... Oh, okay, well, yeah. Okay, we're just going to let that one go since I'll get banned if I talk about what happened to him. In 2008, Amy Winehouse was admitted into rehab in a battle to kick her addiction to drugs. That was definitely a one-hit wonder, for sure. Home in Tulipum? Yes, right? We're frozen in Oxford, so I had to pack up our studio, and I'm doing a remote set in my parents' house. Oh, Floyd, man, what's up with that? Oh, man. Tupelo, MS. All right, well, that's probably warmer than it's going to be here. Cripes. Amy Winehouse, who admitted to kick her addiction to drugs, a statement from her record company Universal Music, said she entered the facility after talks with her record label, management, family, and doctors to continue her ongoing recovery against drug addiction. Yeah, that didn't work out for you so well, did it there, my friend? Sorry. David Bowie was number 1 on both the UK and US album charts with his 25th and final studio album, Black Star, Bowie's only album to top the Billboard 200 in the US. Bowie was the biggest selling vinyl artist of 2016 in the UK with 5 albums in the vinyl top 30, including Black Star as the number 1 selling vinyl album of the year. This is also the year he died, 2016. The Offspring was a one-hit wonder? I didn't realize that was. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Pretty fly for a white guy. Ridiculous song. Let's see. 2017 American drummer Butch Trucks from the Allman Brothers died of, self-harm in West Palm Beach, Florida at the age of 69. He played in various groups before forming the 31st of February while at Florida State University. At the mid-60s, he joined the Allman Brothers Band in 69. Their 1971 live release at the Fillmore East represented artistic and commercial breakthrough. Yeah, something was going on. I can't believe Bowie's gone for... I know. I mean, is that nuts? Right. It's been 10 years since Bowie's been gone. It's kind of sad if you think about that, how time sails by. I find that the music industry as a whole is really good at... okay, let's put it this way. The statement, "What have you done for me lately?" That was absolutely invented by the record industry. We had a number 1 album last week. I know. It's amazing you did. What have you done for me lately? I mean, what? But we had a number 1 hit last week. Right, but that was last week. So what have you done for me lately? The industry is just brutal. So, Bowie being gone 10 years, I mean, move along. Nothing to see here. It's the way it works. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. All right. American country music singer Morgan Wallen was number 1 in the U.S. charts with his second studio album, Dangerous, the double album. In March of 2022, the album established the all-time record for the longest duration in the number 1 spot, 98 weeks and counting on Billboard's country albums chart. 98 weeks, Morgan Wallen. I don't think I've ever... I don't think you could play a Morgan Wallen song and I'd be like, oh my God, that's Morgan Wallen. I'd be like, I had no clue. Nope. I don't think I've ever listened to a song by him. And so I wouldn't even know. Also in 2022, American rapper Cardi B won a $1 million defamation verdict against YouTuber Letitia Kibi, Tasha K, for waging a malicious campaign to hurt her reputation by posting false rumors. She stated that the lies had led her to contemplate suicide in 2019. The jury issued a verdict that Cardi B had been defamed and awarded $1.2 million in damages. Further proceedings brought the total fine against Kibi to $3.82 million. Wow. I hope Miss Kibi made some money YouTubing, because $3.82 million is nothing to laugh at, especially if you lose it because you're being a shitbag. Wow. All right. Well, just note to self, don't defame people. Just saying. Sounds like a bad idea. Yowska. All right. So here's some songs, some new music that you should listen to. Okay. It may not be your cup of tea, but you check it out. All right. So here they are. All right. So this is a heavy list, a little bit heavier than, it leans a little bit on that. Let's put it that way. Okay. The first one is I Am Rock and Roller. I'm a Rock and Roller by Rob Zombie. It's been 5 years since Rob Zombie's most recent album, The Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy, in 2021. But now the master of shock and awe has returned, and on February 27th, he will unleash The Great Satan, his eighth studio album. For the album's third single, this week Zombie released I'm a Rock and Roller. It's a thunderously spacey track that harkens back to his Hellbilly Deluxe area, is kind of the best way to put it. So check that one out. Next is Enjoy That Show by Unity TX. If you can be slightly unprofessional for a minute, this shit's kind of dope. Unity TX is one of those bands that, I've listened to, and I could say, all right, I could be a fan of them. Feralty is their 2023 album. They blend music, hardcore, hip-hop that should be definable, but they kind of escape definability in this genre classification. This week, the band dropped Enjoy the Show, and you probably like it if you like it a little bit heavy. Next is Bomb to a Knife Fight by the Barbarians of California. Now, this is a fun one for sure, okay? This is definitely this is just one of those bands. Barbarians of California was just sort of this brainchild of Aaron Bruno from AWOL Nation, and it's good. It's just really good. The new track, Bomb to a Night Fight, Night, K-N-I-G-H-T, Bomb to a Night Fight, is like garage-core. It's a little punky and a little trashy. The chorus breakdown comes in a heavy as anything bands I've listened to. This May, they're going on tour with Poison, The Well, if you like that kind of stuff, go look for them. Next, we've got Original Sin by Tim Henson. Tim Henson's a musical savant. It requires a lot of discipline. It feels like 80% of this guy's ability just feels like he just was born with the ability to do this. His new solo tune, Original Sin, it's an instrumental track that blends unique stringed acumen with what I'm getting is sort of a Spanish flamenco. You have to listen to it again. It's just unique. And then lastly, Vengeance and Grace, Alone by Benjamin Todd. Okay? Modern folk stalwart Benjamin Todd has announced a new album, Vengeance and Grace. It will arrive on April 17th as a dual project. One version of the album will be the full band, and the other, the alone version, will be stripped down version of the same songs. With the announcement, he released the album's first single, the alone performance of the title track, Vengeance and Grace. It's refreshingly vulnerable expression of American art, and it's kind of full of hope. So, again, worth checking out. So those are just some bands, just some new music to listen to, and just a little bit on the heavier side, but it's just new stuff. Fair enough. Interesting things I found today. 1984, today, the Super Bowl was held, and Apple unveiled their Macintosh computer commercial, the 1984 Super Bowl Macintosh commercial, saying, hey, we've got it. It was directed by Ridley Scott, of all people. So it's one of those commercials, you can go Google it. It's one of those epic kind of, Ridley Scott weird Apple commercials. So also on this day in 2006, Disney bought Pixar, okay, the animated film studio. They paid $7.4 billion with a B. Billion. Fuck. Had I known that, I would have bought stock of Pixar back in 2005. And in 2016, the X-Files returned on this day after being gone for 13 years, putting Mulder and Scully back together again. I did catch that. But yeah, think about that. 2016, that was 10 years ago as well. And it was 13 years before that X-Files had been. 23 years ago. Holy shit, David Duchovny. All right. Birthdays today and deaths. Ray Stevens is 87. Who the hell's Ray Stevens? He made all these weird songs, one of them being The Streak. You have to listen to it. It's just one of these sort of weird kind of like, what the fuck, man? This is a song that someone actually played and was popular? Aaron Neville of the Neville Brothers, 85 years old today. Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. 85 today. God bless Neil. Thank God you're still with us. Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. I love that song. He saw the werewolf down at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. Warren would have been 69 today. He died in 2003. It's been forever. Blues brother John Belushi, born on this day. He died all the way back in 1982. He would have been 77 today. Can you imagine a 77-year-old John Belushi? What the fuck would he be like? I can only imagine. Would he be like a Chevy Chase? Or would he be like Bill Murray? Where would he be like? Think about that. What would John Belushi be like at 77? I don't know. I'm thinking that Belushi would probably be more like I think Belushi would be more like a Chevy Chase. He'd probably be a curmudgeon. Honestly, he'd probably just be so unhappy and just such an ass that people would be like, what happened to you? Let's see. Jules Holland from Squeeze, 68 today. Michael Kiske of Halloween, 58. Ernest Borgnine. We lost Ernest Borgnine in 12. He would have been 109 today. He was in like McHale's Navy and a bunch of other stuff. But he was Mermaid Man on SpongeBob. To the Invisible Boatmobile. I love Mermaid Man and Barkley Boy. Sorry, cartoons, one of my weaknesses. Love cartoons. Sorry. Hey, don't forget, like, share, follow, subscribe, and watch. I always did get that watch part in. Go watch some of the damn videos. Oh, and trust me, like I said, that picture that is the thing tonight, that is a time lapse that I'm taking right now of the Snowmageddon that we're about to get. So hopefully it'll come out pretty cool. I'm going to try and film that same view for the next, I don't know, 12 to 24 hours to see if we can see the entire snowfall we're going to get in Columbus, because I have no idea what the amount we're going to get. Morgan, who? I know. Shut up. Exactly. All right. I only did it because 98 weeks at number one. That's a lot. All right. Born this day, Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate would have been 83 today. She died in 1969. She was part of the whole Helter Skelter, Charles Manson thing. Yeah. Adrian Emerson. Adrian from The Young Ones. And his friend Rick Mahal. Rick with a silent P. Bored, bored, bored. Even mindless violence is boring. If you've never seen the show The Young Ones, go watch it. Go Google it on YouTube and go find The Young Ones. It's ridiculously funny. Oh, and Phil Lamar. Again, more cartoons. He's 59 today. He was in Pulp Fiction, but he's also Hermes Conrad. Yes, he's Hermes Conrad. Planet Express. Let's see. Who'd we lose today? Larry Fine of the Three Stooges. He died at the age of 72 in 1975. Curly, Larry, and Moe. That's who Lowe was. Chris Penn. I didn't realize Chris Penn had died. Chris Penn died at the age of 40 in 06. 20 years ago. He was in Reservoir Dogs. I guess that was one of the Penn brothers. Sean's brother. Chris Penn. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Didn't even realize that. James Farentino. He died at the age of 72 and 12. And Lance Kerwin. He was the kid in Salem's Lot. He died at the age of 62 in 2023. So, yeah, it's Lance Kerwin. I saw the name. I'm like, why do I know that name? Lance Kerwin. But that's that. So there you go. All right. So that's what's going on, except for the snow. The snow's going on. So I don't know where you live or what you're expecting. I'm expecting anywhere from 0 to 100 inches at this point. I mean, did I ever get it right? Really? They're like, it's going to travel just like this across the thing. The swath's going to be, it's like, do they ever actually know? So we're going to get snow. It's supposed to snow between now and Monday. So at some point we're going to get inches of snow. If we get a foot of snow, I'll be amazed. That will be the most snow I've seen in a long, long time, except for being somewhere other than Columbus, Ohio. So if you're somewhere that's getting lots of snow already, please let me know. If you're getting lots of ice, let me know. If you're getting nothing, like my cousin in California, fuck you. If you're like my friend who's supposed to fly out to Florida on Tuesday, good luck with that. I don't think that's going to happen. Just saying, I'll be here for you, but I don't think that's going to happen. Sorry. I'm just not feeling that. If this storm is as big as they say it's going to be, the airlines are going to be way screwed up. So Thursday is more likely the day you'll be flying out. Just saying. Anyway, so that's all the news that's fit to print. I don't really have anything utterly spectacular to discuss other than the snowpocalypse. That's happening as we speak. I have family that lives still on the East Coast in New Jersey, and I guess the supermarkets were ridiculous today. I went to Lowe's yesterday because I go to Lowe's every day because I always have to buy stuff. But I went yesterday and there was the parking lot was packed. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And I go in and it's just this madhouse. Everyone's buying shovels and salt. I was like, really? And then today there was a big sign on the door that said, "Sorry, we're out of salt." I'm like, wow, you had pallets of it. So I guess people really, really bought a lot of salt, thinking salt's going to melt the 12 inches of snow. No, it's not, actually. It's not going to do anything. But it is supposed to be 0 next week for like 4 days and below 0. So yeah, this shit isn't going anywhere for a minute. So we're going to have giant mountains of snow and drifts and everything else, which is great. You know, I don't really have to drive anywhere, so I'm not worried about it. And I don't have to go anywhere for a job. So, you know, I get to do that from home. So good luck with that. So, you know, feel free to, you know, be entertained by me tomorrow night, because I'll do this all again tomorrow night for episode 238 of the Randsanity special on the 25th of January, which should be stupendous as we're snowed in by the white death that's approaching us. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to depart. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to go watch some cartoons, because that's what I do. I found this a cartoon. What the hell is it? Something in His Demons. It's ridiculous. I'll remember it. Something in His Demons. It's on like, I think it's on Prime or something, but it's really funny. It's just ridiculous. It's definitely an adult cartoon, you know, because there's cursing and cartoon nudity and everything else. But that's the best kind of nudity, the cartoon nudity. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, direct them toward my publicist. He'll be on here tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. All right. Well, in all seriousness, if you're in the way of this incoming snowstorm, stay warm. You know, don't exert yourself too much if you're over the age of 18 out in snow, if you're shoveling it. You know, don't slip and fall and get injured. Don't drive if you don't have to. And if you do, please know how to drive. Don't do 70 in 3 feet of snow. I just can't wait. That's always the thing. I'm excited to go drive, just to go look at the amount of cars that are, you know, up on the side of the highway, because all these people are like, we're just going to drive 70 miles an hour like nobody's business because I know what I'm doing. It's like, bro, you have no idea what you're doing, and your car is in a ditch. Just saying. Just saying. All right. On that note, I'm going to depart and leave all you fine folks to your own devices. Stay out of trouble. Stay warm. Stay whatever. Thank you. Appreciate you. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow, watch, and share. But you don't have to share now because I'm leaving. I'll talk to you later. Happy Saturday. Fade to black. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, Caesar.